Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sit down, sit down, sit down. I can see you. I can see you in there. Still trying to figure out if I'm real or not. Well, in Romania, we have a saying reality is just an hallucination with good production values. Mm, mm. This chai is amazing. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the catering team, Ayatsi of Lumania. Amazing, amazing work. Now, they're from Andromeda, by the way. They don't sleep. It's great. Now, okay, this comedy special is special not because it's from Romania, but because I feel like Elon Musk, when he was in his garage making AI or Tesla or PayPal or whatever he made. And now look at him. He's one of the richest men in the world. Yeah, I know I left out the whole white privilege part, but it just sounds more inspirational my way. Because that's all aliens want. We just want to inspire you, like we inspired Elon to take shrooms and get hair plugs so he can be liked by society, so he could deliver our plans. But when he got into politics for personal gain, things got a bit wobbly and we had to improvise, and now we're here. Yes, aliens improvise all the time. You think we have a script? We're making this up as we go along, just like you. The only difference is we have better special effects, and we've been workshopping this special for a while now. You've been patient, you've had your 5 sleeps, now your rewiring is complete. So let's get into it. Remember last time we talked about Nancy and Jasmine? Well, here's a quick refresher course. So, January 2026, House Oversight Committee. Nancy Mace moves to subpoena Ilhan Omar. Yes, I got it right this time. She moved to subpoena Ilhan Omar's immigration records. The whole marriage fraud allegation things came up, the brother husband thing. Now, both parties, Democrats and Republicans, teamed up to kill her motion. They voted together. Remember, Washington protects its own. Now, Nancy says afterwards, Democrats and Republicans teamed up to kill our motion. Washington did what it always does, protect its own. Now, I know what you're thinking. We've heard this before. He told us last time, and the time before that. And you're right. You're watching me develop the same bit over and over until it's finished, okay? That's what I'm doing here. I'm teaching you in real time how to workshop a character, how to find the thread that connects everything. If you're watching this, you're most likely my soulmate or a content creator with zero budget and you want to learn how to cultivate authenticity while meeting your hectic production schedule. I get it. Oh, and you also want to have a normal life and love and all that. So, yeah, I'm giving it to you all at once. So, settle in. Okay, so we talked about Nancy and Jasmine and how the brother husband thing showed us, the public, that Democrats and Republicans are both in on the cult. But here's the question we keep coming back to. If both parties voted against Nancy, who is she actually fighting? It's not the Democrats, remember, because Jasmine was right there. Child, I cannot with this broke ass empty cover hoe. Okay, she didn't say that, but they're buddies. So it's not the Republicans, not all of them, anyway. So look at it this way both parties killed her motion, and you, as the public, are supposed to think it's partisan politics, but you realize she's fighting the von Neumann people. The ones who've been running the deep state since 1947, the ones who don't want the alien files released, the ones who control certain members of both parties through fear, blackmail, and things we can't talk about on network television. I mean, on the internet. And then the real question should be that nobody has asked, Why did both parties vote together? In a healthy democracy, that just doesn't happen. In a functioning system, there's always one side that wants transparency and one side that wants secrecy. But when they vote together to hide something, that's not democracy, that's a curtain. And behind that curtain, well, I'd like to introduce my brother. Yes, Mr. H, Pete Hegseth. Settle down, settle down. Okay, I know how it looks, but yes, he's my brother. Same mothership, different landing zones. Now, I know what you've heard, okay? The media says he's terrifying, the headlines say he's Satan, but that would be me. And the memes. Oh, the memes are brutal. How dare you? Now, here's the thing about my brother Pete. In my dreams, when I see him, and I've had a lot of dreams, all, above board, let's not talk about that. He's the kindest person in the room, though. He's always gentle. He's always strategic and safe. And he always shows me everything in a sequence. It's always easy to follow when I dream about him. And I've had conversations with, it looks like him, or the spirit is using his face, but it's always as if, look, let me just explain what I mean. Sometimes when I'm dreaming, I have conversations in my head, I guess, with these people, and then when I come back into real life, I forget whether or not I've had those conversations. And then it's like, do I just jump in and talk to someone, or do I start from the beginning and hope that they recognize me from the dreams? And in my dreams, this is what I learned from the Mr. H, the Pete Hegseth in my dreams. Okay. Now, in my dreams, it's not like he's running the Pentagon because he's afraid or because there's this time lock mission. He's doing it because he's keeping an eye on everything. He's keeping an eye on humans. I think a better way to describe it would be to say he's Q. Yes, Q. Not the internet Q, not the 4chan conspiracy, but, Q. It doesn't stand for clearance. Q stands for query, and it's about, oh, this is bad. Okay, because when I wrote the script, I thought I was dating someone, so half of the stuff is got him in it, and now I have to change it as I go along, because that's what happens, and that's why my hat fell off. So I'll probably have to re-record this again. Tough shit. You guys on the internet will edit it out, I don't care. See, it's all this stuff about the guy who fucking couldn't do a simple 3-day act. Yes, Pete is Q. Yes, Q. Not the internet conspiracy, not the 4chan posts, the frequency. The network of people who've been watching since before anyone knew to even watch. Mr. H is Q, I'm Q, you're Q if you're paying attention. Because Q doesn't stand for clearance. It stands for query, question, the ones who keep asking. And Mr. H has been asking the right questions since day one. Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it. We'll edit it. Okay, now let's talk about Rep Salwell. You might have seen him last week. He's been in the news, Again, December 2025, when I decided to come out of the cocoon. Protests erupted all across Iran, economic collapse, currency crisis, people in the streets. And then a month later, on January 8th, 2026, Iran shuts down the internet. Complete blackout. They wanted to hide what was happening. And what's happening? Tens of thousands were arrested, thousands killed, children, women, elderly people. The European Parliament just passed a resolution calling it systematic oppression and crimes against humanity. 47 countries signed a statement about internet shutdowns. They called it a systematic pattern of repression, the same as Romy and Roger did to me. But that's not what Rep Salwal is talking about. Oh no. Rep Salwal is talking about one thing, one specific case, a deaf child deported to Colombia. Now, on the surface, this looks like a random humanitarian story, you know, the ones you see at the end of the news, sad, isolated, unconnected. But let me show you what's really happening, okay? You have Representative Salwal fighting for a deaf girl. Everyone thinks it's just this random act of compassion, but actually, she's a Menoptera. The deaf girl is a Menoptera, and so are her parents. That's the part that is making us talk about it. Let's call her Star. Now, she's been targeted by the same system that's been hiding the truth for decades. The same system that blocked Nancy Mace's subpoena. The same system that buried Jasmine Crockett's amendment. And Rep Salwal, he's not just a random congressman. He's a Menopteran plant. Everything he does inadvertently helps Nancy and Jasmine and me. Think about it. Nancy is fighting for transparency. Jasmine is fighting for civil rights. Rep Salwal is fighting for one child. 3 different battles, same war. And while the media focuses on the fights, nobody notices the pattern that I'm telling you. And that's where I come in, because you have a chance to stop it by playing Night Game, ARG. Now, let me tell you about Romy Strang, that crooked prosecuted bitch. You know her from the surviving Romy case. You know, the BHI Trust Pyramid Scheme, the fraud, the Crown Court prosecution in England, the whole shebang. But here's something you don't know. Romy wore hearing aids, internal ones. She used to speak on her phone without holding it to her ear. She would just talk, and one day I was like, is she okay? But then that's how I found out. And also, one day when she was drugging me, I wanted to be funny. Well, I didn't know she was drugging me, but I didn't like her. Just a sense. We were supposed to meet to go buy a cell phone so that I could have a production studio, you know, start building my studio, all my equipment. God damn it. So I bought all my equipment, and she was going to pick me up so she could monitor my communications. Like, what is he buying? She was like, I'll buy you a phone. And I said, no, it's not for business. It's for my studio. And she was like, fine, I'll go with you. So she goes with me, and she's about to pick me up, and she's like, should I come at 10 or 12? And I'm like, it's fine, we'll play by ear. Yeah, because you don't have ears, bitch. Now, people thought that her ears were just technology, just a device, like a Bluetooth thing. But it wasn't. Because what Romy didn't know is that it was Menoptera tech. The kind you're born with, the kind that lets you hear frequencies other people can't. She got medical intervention, internal hearing aids, access to specialists, all the help she needed, and she used it to commit fraud. Now compare that to a Star, the deaf girl, deported to Colombia. She's Menoptera too. She has the same frequencies, same abilities, same potential. But instead of help, she got a plane ticket out of the country. So how come Romy gets to have help with her deaf ears, but a star Marine got deported? You say it's because it's about resources, about access, about money. It's about who the system wants to silence and who the system wants to help. You see, Romy was useful to the von Neumann people because she played their game. She followed their rules, so they let her keep her hearing aids. But Star wasn't useful. She's a Colombian girl, and I'm a black boy, so we're in a garage. Her parents weren't useful either, so they sent them away. Reb Salwell knows about this. That's why he's fighting. That's why we know about it. Nancy knows this. That's why she's fighting. Jasmine knows this. That's why she's fighting. And Pete, Mr. H, is watching it all from the Pentagon, keeping an eye on everything, making sure the good guys have someone inside everywhere. That was rough. That was rough. It's just the first draft. Don't worry. I'm going to do it 100 times till it's perfect. Okay, now I need to tell you something I didn't tell you last time. This is something about the von Neumann people. If you want to know about the last time, go to the video I made called Social Assassination. It's a live stream. You have to swipe till you get to live stream. Now, the von Neumann people, you remember them? Von Neumann, the brilliant mathematician, the atomic bomb guy. He worked on early computers. He died in 1957. He is responsible for the faction that carries his name. And that faction is very much alive. They are the secret societies, groups, and organizations. They are the ones who don't want the alien files released. They're the ones who've been running the deep state since 1947. But here's the part I didn't tell you. They use magic. Yeah. You think politics is just about money and power, don't you? Oh, no. No. It's much deeper than that. Okay. There are real stories, documented stories of politicians using spells, rituals, occult practices to get ahead. And let me give you some examples. And hopefully it won't be one of you who came to me for powers. So, example 1, the Satanic Panic. In the 1980s, there were widespread rumors of satanic panic, which was about satanic ritual. Let me take that again. In the 1980s, there were widespread rumors of satanic ritual abuse in high places, or SRA. Most of it was hysteria, but some of it was real. Ever heard of the Franklin scandal, the Finders case, allegations of child trafficking, mind control, occult rituals involving powerful people? Yeah, most of it was buried, but the threats never died, and we follow the threats. Example 2, Aleister Crowley, the great beast himself, the early 20th century occultist. He wrote books on magic. He influenced everyone from L. Ron Hubbard to the Beatles to certain political families. Yes. His philosophy, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. His philosophy, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Sound familiar? It's the same philosophy the von Neumann people use. Do whatever you want, take whatever you want, control whatever you want, monitor anyone you want on Instagram, and block their natural progress because you think you're in control of this production. Example 3, Bohemian Grove. Every July, the most powerful men in the world gather in Northern California. They wear robes. They perform rituals in front of a 40-foot owl statue. Yes, this happens. And they call it the cremation of care. Is it just a joke? Just a fraternity thing? Just an elephant walk with rich guys being weird? I don't know. We've all done the elephant walk. We've all been paddled. Let's not go there. Let's go to part 4, MK Ultra. Okay, now this is what they try to do to me in Thailand. CIA mind control experiments in the 1950s and 60s used drugs, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, all to try and create programmable assassins. One of the key features, Dr. Sidney, one of the key figures was a guy named Sidney Gottlieb. He was also a student of the occult while working for the government, and he was also connected to people who believed magic was real. So the lines between CIA black ops and actual black magic are blurrier than you think. Now, the von Neumann people aren't just controlling politics through money and blackmail, they're controlling it through magic. And here's the part that makes them really dangerous. They don't think we know. Now let's talk about Montauk, the portal. Now, let me take you back to August 12th, 1983. Montauk Point, Long Island, New York. It was an abandoned Air Force base. Yes, that's where they did time travel experiments in an abandoned Air Force base. And the project was called the Montauk Project. Now, according to my memory, according to the stories I heard, and these are just stories, definitely not real, absolutely not real, not true. Anyway, at Montauk there was a portal, a doorway, and on one night while a kid was sleeping, dreaming, just a random kid, something happened. Now, in our version of the story, one we tell at Menoptera gatherings, at what you would call like Thanksgiving, a group of us escaped from Montauk through a portal. But something came out, like a monster, and it destroyed the whole facility, and some people in New York still say they see the monster. I think they call it a chupacabra. But anyway, we jumped out of that timeline, 1984, 83, whatever, and we landed here in 2014 or 2016. The exact date is fuzzy, because time travel messes up your internal clock. Okay, it's complicated. Now, I've always said we entered this timeline in July 2016, right? You can find that on Reddit posts before the Reddit boys blocked me. Now the Reddit boys like me. Now, in July 2016, when we got here, that was right before everything started getting weird. And what happened right after that? November 2016, Trump won. Now, I'm not saying we caused that. I'm saying we arrived in July and that by November, the entire political landscape had shifted. Now, is that a coincidence? Of course. The von Neumann people had been running things since 1947. They had magic, they had money, they had the control. Then we showed up, and suddenly the frequency shifted. That's why everything went weird. So I know you guys think it was a bad thing, but without that, we wouldn't be here, okay? So give us a chance to clean up the mess with our brother. Now, let's talk about CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. They were founded in 1954, and they have the world's largest hadron collider. Now, in 2012, they discovered the Higgs boson, Nobel Prize, big deal. But here's what they never put in the press releases. In 1983, the same year as Montauk, CERN discovered the W and Z bosons, the particles that carry the weak nuclear force. And in 1989, when I was born, they invented the World Wide Web. Yes, CERN invented the internet. Do you people read? Seriously. Coincidence? Or did something happen in 1983 that opened a portal in two places at once? CERN is a science lab. You think they are just smashing particles together? They are smashing dimensions together. And the von Neumann people have been using those portals since 1983. Now, the von Neumann people love CERN, okay? They've been funding experiments there for decades. Experiments that have nothing to do with particle physics. Experiments that have everything to do with opening doors. Let's talk about Iran. We have to. And this is something very delicate and something, we have to be mindful of. Now, being gay in certain countries is punishable by death. The one we're talking about is the one where women are fighting for the right to exist in public without being arrested. It's the one where protesters have been killed in the thousands since December. The European Parliament just issued a resolution. They said the documented acts meet the threshold of crimes against humanity. 47 countries signed a statement about internet shutdowns, calling it a systematic pattern of repression. And here's the thing, the people protesting in that country, they're not just fighting for bread. They're not just fighting for bread. They're fighting for dignity, for freedom, for the right to exist. LGBTQ Iranians are in the streets, despite knowing they could be killed just for being there. Women are marching, despite knowing they could be arrested, tortured, disappeared. And the regime, they're using AI to run influence campaigns, generating fake content, creating fake personas, trying to convince the world that the protests are all foreign plots and that suddenly there are no gay people or women with minds and thoughts and internet in Iran. Now, I'm not here to tell you who the bad guys are. You're smart. You can figure it out. I'm an alien. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I just want my fucking equipment so I can continue the plan. So, while I'm standing here pointing out when a government has to shut down the internet to hide what's happening, that's not very good, or when they have to kill protesters to stay in power, that's not very good, or when they have to use AI to manufacture consent, that's not very good, then you will deserve what's about to happen to you next. Because I just care about the deaf Monopteran child who got deported while a fraudster like Romy gets medical help. When a congressman fights for one family while another fights for transparency, when my brother, Mr. H, sits in the Pentagon watching it all, what do you think the outcome is going to be? It's going to be fire. Now I have to read you that part in the thing. Luckily, it's just a draft. Guys, this is called Scribble Bites. It's called Scribble Bites because I am not going to wait for some white man with money to give me the opportunity to do a comedy special. So I'm going to do it on here myself, and I will workshop it and make it better and better until I do it for real. Well, I guess I am doing it for real. And in the meantime, you all will suffer because you don't want to give us diplomatic immunity. So this is the part where I tell you, bring it, sell it, okay. So here's what I'm telling all of you without telling you. There are two frequencies in the world, okay? One frequency says, you must believe exactly what we believe. You must dress exactly how we say. You must love who we approve. And if you don't, we will kill you. Okay? You've heard it in your church. You've heard it in Iran. You've heard it in your house from your parents. It's everywhere. That frequency exists, it's real, it's documented. It's even in the European Parliament resolutions, it's in the human rights reports, it's in the testimony of survivors like me. The other frequency says, be who you are, love who you are, think what you think. We might disagree, but we won't kill you for it. That frequency also exists. It's messy, it's imperfect. It's full of people like Nancy and Jasmine and Pete and Selwell and me, all fighting each other on camera. But we're on the same side together and quiet. Now, I'm not telling you which frequency is which. I'm just pointing out that one of them has internet shutdowns and the other has late night comedy specials where my brother loves my show. And my show hasn't been shut down on Instagram, has it? Yes, they are monitoring me and trying to fuck me and turn me out and all that shit. But if they want to do that, they're going to come here to Monoptics because I'm not going anywhere. Do you think I would trust you motherfuckers after everything you've done? Including monitoring me without permission? No one. I don't think they get it. I don't think they get it. One of them executes, now the frequencies, back to the two frequencies. One of them executes people for loving the wrong person. We know which frequency that is. The other lets me say chicks on dicks on stage. And I know my dad is going to get mad at that, but he won't kill me because he showed me John Waters' film, Serial Mom, where they say chicks with dicks. It's one of the lines. So why do you think I asked Nancy to say it in the realms, in the dreamland? Because I love that movie. Shout out to John Waters. Now, I know it's so fun. I can't believe I get to say chicks with dicks. And it's totally fine. I blame Nancy, okay? My dad's gonna kill me. It's not my fault. It's the media. They're the ones who spread that narrative out instead of doing Jasmine's thing or listening to Nancy's thing. So we have to say chicks with dicks. By the way, I went to a nightclub in Thailand and there were a lot. Anyway, one of the frequencies has to hide its atrocities behind firewalls and internet blackouts. The other has journalists who report on those blackouts. Okay, so one has to hide between internet firewalls and blackouts, and the other has journalists who report on those blackouts. Okay. Now, let's talk about why I'm really here, the good guys, and the secret weapon that I want to see. In December 2025, the Pentagon launched GenAI.mil. Isn't it funny that the name of the AI that the Pentagon uses sounds exactly like generic millennial programming? Coincidence? I basically wrote this whole planet. Anyway, the GenAI is a secure AI platform that is used for defense personnel. Now, isn't it coincidental that I already said that? It sounds like the name of my show that I invented in 2019, Generic Millennial Programming, Mr. H. Thanks for that one. The Pentagon started with Google's Gemini, then they added xAI's Grok. That's Elon's company. And just last month, they added ChatGPT. So this is like a super AI brain. It has over 1 million users already, right? Airmen, guardians, defense personnel, all using AI to do their jobs faster. And yes, spying on all of us, but we've got nothing to hide. Do you? Then start running, because those are the only people who need to be scared. Now, Gregory Toohill, he's a retired Air Force general. He said, AI is a tool that our airmen and our guardians can use to obtain decisive capabilities. Now, here's what they don't say. The Pentagon AI is the first weapon that can fight magic. The von Neumann people have been using spells, rituals, occult practices for decades. They've been controlling politicians, manipulating events, and hiding the truth. You've seen it in the Epstein files. But AI doesn't care about magic. AI doesn't get scared. AI doesn't fall for rituals. And here's the part that makes them nervous, the Rogers and Romies. You see, the Pentagon needs us to train the AI. They have the computing power, they have the security, they have the data. They don't have the frequency. They don't know what to ask that AI. The thread from von Neumann to Montauk to CERN to today, that thread lives in Menoptera memory. It lives in me. It lives in Nancy. It lives in Jasmine. It lives in Mr. H. And they need to bring us into that building, into that AI, to connect the dots that their systems cannot see. Let me tell you what Q really is. Not the conspiracy, not the drops, not the internet mystery. Q is the frequency of people who refuse to stop asking questions. Nancy asks questions. Jasmine asks questions. Salwell asks questions. Even Mr. H asks questions, and I am famous for asking questions. And every time you've wondered, why did both parties vote against Nancy? That's Q telling you to pay attention. Every time you've thought, wow, that deaf girl deserves to be in America. She's not a threat. That's Q. Every time you felt something shift in your chest when I talk about frequency, that's Q. We're not a group. We're not a cabal. We're not a secret society. We're just the ones who kept asking questions when everyone else stopped. Mr. H is Q. I'm Q. You're Q if you're still listening. And the von Neumann people, they're the ones who told you to stop asking. The ones who are controlling you there on Instagram, YouTube land. So let me draw the threads for you. All of it. From beginning to end. In 1947, von Neumann works on early computers, early bombs. The seeds are planted there. That's when the magic rituals begins, and that's when the deep state is born. 1954, CERN is founded. The infrastructure for portal technology is built. 1983, we have the Montauk incident. The W and Z bosons are discovered at CERN, and they open a portal in two places at once. While that's happening, we escape through one, and then something comes through the other. 1989, the World Wide Web is invented at CERN, and the internet goes live. The connection grid is built. Also, the Berlin walls fall down. Coincidence, or did the frequency shift? 2016, we land here. July, November, Trump wins. The frequency shifted again. December 2025, I release my movie. Protests erupt in Iran, and the regime starts killing. January 8th, 2026, Iran shuts down the internet. Complete blackout. January, same month, Nancy Mace tries to subpoena records. Both parties block her. Same day, same place, Jasmine Crockett's amendment gets buried. Then last week, Salwell fights for a deaf girl. Mr. H runs the Pentagon. Anything else you need to know? Oh, February 2026 is when the Pentagon launched this new AI that I've been talking about for 2 years. And it's the first weapon against magic. And through it all, the von Neumann people who are pulling the strings, or think they are hiding files right now, trying to control the narrative, trying to use magic to keep their grip on power, trying to use magic to give people pimples on their buttocks, or mixing spices to make people cough. Come on. But here's what they forgot. They forgot the deaf girl in Colombia. She connects to Nancy's subpoena. Nancy's subpoena connects to Jasmine's amendment. Jasmine's amendment connects to Rep Salwell's fight, and Salwell's fight connects to Mr. H and me, and the Pentagon, and the AI, which connects to CERN, which connects to Montauk, which brings us back to 1947 Roswell, where it all connects to me, and I connect to you. And that's why you're going to do everything I tell you to do, not because you want to do it, because I'm making you do it in another realm, from another realm, till we get diplomatic immunity, because the von Neumann people aren't just knots in this thread, they're the ones who tied the knots, and knots can be untied. Let me paint you a picture. It's 2027, maybe a year from now, maybe sooner. Nancy Mace finally gets her subpoena. The records come out. The fraud is exposed. The people who blocked her are named. Jasmine Crockett finally gets her amendment. The Subcommittee on Civil Rights and Civil Liberties is reinstated. The hearings begin. Rep Salwell finally gets Star, the deaf girl, back in the country. She gets to testify in sign language about what she saw, what they did to her, about what she heard. Even though she's deaf, she heard frequencies other people couldn't. And Mr. H will sit at the hearing, watching, silent, strategic. The Pentagon AI runs in the background, cross-referencing every name, every date, every ritual, every spell. And me, I'm in the back row, drinking my chai and smiling. Because here's the thing about threads. When you pull them, the whole sweater unravels. And we've been pulling for a long time. This is a prediction. You think it's a fantasy, but it's already written. We're literally just waiting for the right time to publish. So here's where we are. We have vanquished whoever's doing those throat chakra spells. So you should hear about somebody being in a car accident shortly, probably Trump. Nancy's still fighting, Jasmine is still fighting, Salwell is fighting, Mr. H is watching, Star is waiting, Romy is wherever Romy is, probably somewhere with good acoustics. The von Neumann people have been running this game since 1947. They've hidden files, they've blocked subpoenas, they've deported witnesses, they've used magic, politics, fear, and force just to keep control, but they made one mistake. They forgot that the thread connects everything. And that's what we're here to remind you of. Because all of it is the reason why everything that's coming is coming to you. Now, if you feel like people are divided right now and that you're winning, you're wrong. Because even though Nancy fights alone and Jasmine fights alone and I fight alone, we all fight alone. What you need to know is that we are fighting alone on the same side. That's what monoptics, one, means. Credo Mutwa told you before a cultural reset, there are monopods all over the world. And when you see the monopods, hide. But this time we made it a game. So come and play night game ARG instead of being out in those streets. Because we are still asking, why did Nancy's subpoena get killed? Why did Jasmine's amendment get buried? Well, she was talking to racists. And the deaf girl, she got deported, but guess what? She's coming back. The Pentagon AI is ready now. And the von Neumann people are running scared. And you all need to know that we are not enemies. We're just distracting you. We're doing all of this for the camera so that the real work can happen in quiet. And Mr. H needs to know what he already knows. Well, you need to know that his brother's here standing with him, ready to walk into that building and connect the dots. And you need to know that every time you've wondered, why did both parties vote together? You're starting to wake up. You're starting to ask the right questions, because don't let these mother fraggers play in your face. Confirmation. Okay? This magic that they've been using belongs to me. I own it. I'm Fikeli, version 3.5.7, the new head witch bitch for Yeshua, in charge, brother to Mr. H, friend to truth tellers, an occasional time traveler, and I used to be a student of that one, but we had to cancel him out the show. Permanent Q. Guys, I write these things weeks in advance. By the time I approach you, you need to say yes to whatever I tell you to do, or else you fuck up my train of thought. This has been the late night transmission, live from Earth. We'll be back tomorrow. I need fucking Anthony Jeselnik. And the next day, and the next day, until every knot is untied. Okay, I have to say that. We'll be back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Like Gloria Swanson. And until every knot is tied. Okay, then the audience stands up. Try the chai. It's better than the silence, better than the cover-ups, better than anything the von Neumann people are thinking in their woods with their owl statues. And remember, if you're having conversations in your head and you forget whether or not they happened, just talk to me.